Hey everyone, exciting news. Some people have begun to receive their stimulus checks as of last night. I'm going to tell you the timeline of when you can expect to receive your $600 stimulus check and also break down the latest in the $2,000 stimulus check negotiations. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I don't think it's over yet. I'm going to tell you all the details of that. And for those who don't know, my name is Kevin Conway. I sit here, I make stimulus videos, so the least you can do is just give me a quick like. That's all I ask for, and I sincerely appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. I have videos on unemployment insurance, everything you want to know, EIDL, everything else, so be sure to look at those as well. Now, let's get right into the latest with the stimulus checks. So, as of last night, the Treasury Department said that they've begun sending out their stimulus checks to those individuals with the banks on record. So if you have a bank already registered with the IRS, likely you're going to be receiving that stimulus check in the next few days. If you've received it already, comment below and let me know if it was the right amount. I'm curious to see how that has gone out. Now, if you don't have a bank already registered with the IRS, then you will probably be receiving your stimulus checks in the next couple of days. The IRS has begun to mail out those checks as of today. So if you're not already registered with the IRS, unfortunately, you cannot do anything about it. If you've changed your bank account, you cannot go and change it again. So say you had a bank account when you got the first stimulus check and then you changed banks or you closed it or something happened, well, there's no place as of right now to update your banking information, unfortunately. So you will have to wait until you receive that physical check mailed to your address on file, your last address on file. That is basically where you stand right now. Now, if you need a good bank account to get and you don't have one already, I recommend SoFi Money. It's an account that I've had for quite some time. You can get a $50 bonus for signing up. Link in the description below. Before we get into the latest on the $2,000 stimulus check, let's run through a few questions that often come up with this stimulus check. Of course, now everybody knows that it is going to be $600 per eligible individual in your household as of right now, unless that $2,000 stimulus check amendment gets passed. So what does that mean? You and your spouse will get $1,200 collectively. If you have children below the age of 17, you will also get $600 for each one of those. If you're an adult dependent, unfortunately, you will not be receiving a stimulus check at all. It's the same as last time in the CARES Act. So if you're 18 years old, you're a college student, likely you're dependent on your parents' tax returns, you don't get anything. If you're 17, for whatever reason, you don't get anything either directly or indirectly. Your parents will not get anything for you either. Now, the stimulus check is tax-free. Let me underscore that again because questions get raised all the time. It is a tax-free distribution to you. It's the same thing as a tax refund. Technically, it is a tax credit that you get now. You don't have to pay it back. It's not a loan. It's completely tax-free, and that is your money to keep. Now, let's talk about some interesting things. People have asked, what happens if I had a good income in 2019 and I didn't qualify for the stimulus check based upon that income? Will I be able to get anything now in this year that I've lost my job or I've lost my income or it's dropped down enough to make me eligible? And the answer is yes, but not right now. You'll receive that money when you file your 2020 taxes in January, February, whenever it is in 2021. So if you file your taxes then, you'll be able to get a credit at that time equivalent to what you'd qualify for in your stimulus check now. You don't need to opt in to the stimulus check either. It is automatic. There's nothing you need to apply for. The IRS has your information, and if they don't have it already, they'll find it. It's the IRS. They will find a way to get you your money. If you're on Social Security or railroad retirement benefits and you don't normally file a tax return, well, don't worry, the IRS already has your information and they will be sending you the stimulus check in the same manner as you receive those benefits, so direct deposit or mailing that actual physical stimulus check. Now again, if you have a new bank account and it's not on file with the IRS as of right now, there's no way that you can actually update it as of right now. So unfortunately, you'll have to wait for that physical check. But the good news is they've already begun to send out those physical checks as of this morning. Okay, so let's get into the status of the $2,000 stimulus check. Will this stimulus check be trued up? That is, will there be a subsequent $1,400 stimulus check on top of the $600 stimulus check that is being distributed right now? I think there's a decent chance of it happening, and the reason is because there's a lot of momentum on both sides, and the only thing that's holding this up is a few disagreements on things that aren't stimulus check related. So what do I mean by that? Yesterday, we had Chuck Schumer, the minority leader of the Senate, come out and actually try to pass via unanimous consent the $2,000 stimulus check amendment. But unfortunately, that didn't pass. Why? Because unanimous consent is what it sounds like. You need everybody to get on board in order to pass a stimulus check. And they had a lot of people who said, look, I don't want the stimulus check to pass for whatever reason. So we went back and Mitch McConnell said, I'm not going to pass it via unanimous consent. Instead, I'm going to bring a bill forward saying, fine, we could have the $2,000 stimulus checks. I'm on board with that. But if we have that, we need to add two additional things. And I talked about this briefly yesterday, but he officially came out and said it. He put forward a bill that said $2,000 stimulus check amendment, just fine with me. But we have to, number one, repeal Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. What is that? I'll talk about that in a second. And number two, we have to investigate voter fraud that happened in the 2020 election and see if it impacted Trump's loss in some way. So those are the two things that he wants to bring forward in the bill. Now, Section 230 is the most interesting of the two things that he wants to bring forward. And the reason is because it basically allows companies like Google and Facebook to evade lawsuits from people posting on Google or Facebook and then somebody suing Google or Facebook because of what the user posted. It prevents them from being sued directly so long as they take adequate steps. This has allowed the internet companies to grow to massive scale, and it has been a point of consternation on the right wing because people say, look, Google and Facebook are biased against right-wingers, supposedly, and as a result, they shouldn't have this liability protection. That's why President Trump wants it to pass so badly. Then he also wants voter fraud to be investigated because he thinks that if he does that, then he could somehow sway the election, and then maybe he'll become president again. Those are the two things that he stands for. I'm not taking a position on either one of them. I could see the merits on both sides, but that's basically where we are with the $2,000 stimulus check. Now, people have talked about this and said, look, this is kind of like a poison pill. You pair both of those things together in the $2,000 stimulus check, and there's no way that this thing is going to pass because the Democrats are not going to agree to either one of those things, repealing Section 230 or the voter fraud investigation in the manner that Trump wants it to be investigated. As a result, this is more like a poison pill. This isn't going anywhere, at least as it stands right now. And the question is, will it change later? Well, we had Nancy Pelosi out of the House of Representatives come out strongly and say this morning that their lives and livelihood, meaning the public, in many cases are on the brink. I do hope in the days ahead, we only have a few days left in this session because Congress ends on January 3rd, that they will see the light, they being Republicans, and understand the suffering that is going on in our country. Meaning she wants she wants the stimulus check bills passed right now, doesn't want to attach a lot of things, Section 230, voter fraud, etc. to it, just wants the $2,000 stimulus check passed. It passed the House, pretty overwhelmingly and went to the Senate. And supposedly, it has enough votes to go if it were a standalone bill. But of course, there's always going to be things attached to the bill, as we found out with basically this stimulus bill that passed in the first time. There's a lot of other pork and other things attached to it. So of course, this bill isn't going to just fly through easily. It's going to have people's priorities attached to it. For better or worse, that is how it is right now. We really don't know the status of the $2,000 stimulus check, whether it will happen. I'd give it a 50% chance of happening, really because of the Senate races in Georgia. I've talked about this before, but those two races need to both go to the Democrats, and if so, they will control the Senate, and both of them are basically in margin of error right now. So if either one of those senators that are currently Republican lose their seats, well, that could spell trouble for the Republicans. When they lose both, that could be devastating because then the Democrats would control the House, the Senate, and the presidency if Biden comes in and is inaugurated. So because of that, there's a lot more import to this stimulus check. I think it gets a vote by the end of the week. That is what Bernie Sanders is pushing for. He said he's going to filibuster at the end of the session if they don't do that. So it remains to be seen. I'm going to give you the very latest on what is occurring with that $2,000 stimulus check. If that happens, again, a lot of people had doubts the first time when we got a stimulus check. Oh, I doubt it's coming in my bank account. And then boom, there it comes. They had doubts on the second one. We were saying the whole time, there's going to be a second one, there's going to be a second one. It'll take some time. And finally, now we have it. And some people are receiving that check as of today. And so we don't really know if this $2,000 stimulus check is going to happen. I'd say there's a decent shot. We've had it before. We may have it once more. Now, if you are on unemployment and you're wondering, you got a lot of questions, my unemployment ran out, what do I do? Do I qualify for more unemployment? What is this $300 all about? Do I get it even if I have a little bit of unemployment from my state, say $50, or do I need to have more than $100? Get all those questions. Look at my recent video on unemployment insurance. It breaks it down in detail. I go in detail there. Leave comments there. I do my best to reply to them. And also look at the previous comments other people have made. They do a good job of asking some of those common questions. Now, if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe to it. I do my best to bring you relevant information very quickly and also not waste your time. I'm not trying to sit here and talk all day, although I would like to talk all day about my dog, Button. Everybody knows Button. He's great. There's a photo of him right there. Again, this is my dog. And anyway, my name is Kevin Conway. Give a like to this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.